salvia that's in this pot still look okay. We had several nights of frost, and this thing is still going because I believe it is hardy to zone 6. We live in zone 5B, so I'm going to save these salvias. I have 2 pots, one over here and one on the opposite side of the shed. My plan is to dig them up and plant them in the landscape. I think there's more than 1 plant in here. I think there are 2 plants, and I think it's the same for the other pot as well. Join me today as we unlock the secrets to perfect salvia care. From soil types, transplanting, microclimates, to winter care. If I want these salvias to survive this winter, then transplanting them is crucial. Between the sweet potatoes and the salvias, we got lots of roots. While in a pot, these plants do not have much protection from the winter elements, especially the outer perimeter of the pots. Another thing to consider is drainage. When it comes to winter potted plants, drainage is always an issue, especially that we live in a wet environment. If you live in a dry environment, then this might not be a problem for you. The ground will provide a layer of insulation for the roots of these salvia plants, but that is not going to be enough considering that we live in zone 5 and these plants are hardy to zone 6. But that's not an issue. We will talk more about that in a little bit. I'm not expecting much. We'll see what we get. Salvias love to be in a sunny location, so it's important to choose the right location for them before planting. 6 to 8 hours of sunlight is considered full sun. Though this soil has roots in it, I'm still going to use it because there's still a lot of soil left in here, and that's a really big pot. I don't want to refill this pot again with soil. That can be really expensive. I like to reuse the soil in my pots over several years, and I just top them up with some more soil, and then when I see that the soil is really not giving me any fruits, that's when I take it out, because again, it can be really expensive to keep replacing the soil in the pots. Not many tubers. There's only 1 tuber that I would say is sort of decent. The rest are just super small. And I can probably cook these tonight because they're tiny, but you do need to cure them. You just lay them out in a dark, warm place a week or 2, and then you can use them. That way they can concentrate all their starches and get sweet that way for you. And this is the salvia plant. I'm not sure if all these roots are from the salvia or not, but I didn't want to risk it, so I just left them, and we'll be digging a big hole for them pretty soon. I will be cutting them back pretty harshly, maybe like up to here or maybe here even, so that they don't topple over, because we don't need all this growth in here really right now. We're getting really low temperatures in the night, and I don't think these are going to last that much longer anyways, and the blooms are not really necessary for now, so we're just gonna cut them completely back before planting them. Not completely, again, just maybe about here or here. I do want to leave a little bit of foliage, so probably right here, just so that they can get a little bit more energy before they go to sleep. If you want your salvias to bloom for the whole summer, then you'll want to provide them with a rich and well-draining soil. A rich soil contains a lot of organic compost, and that will encourage blooms on your salvias. Look at the difference between the salvias that grew near my previous compost pile location and the ones that grew far away from it. I treated them all the same way. The only water they all got was from the rain, and I gave them all the same amount of fertilizer at planting time. Since I planted sweet potatoes with these salvias, I need to be sure to remove all the tubers from around the roots. Notice that I'm being careful not to break too much of the roots, but I'm also not being super gentle either.
Their roots are pretty big and super tangled together, so a little rough handling is okay. I will not be dividing these salvias because I do not want to risk breaking away any of the roots. We are pretty late in the fall and the temperatures are dipping down in the low 20s at night. I want to be sure that these salvias will have enough roots to make it through the winter. Not much of a harvest.
Will I do this again? No. But that's why I like to try new things or different things to see how they do. And if they work out well, then I repeat it. If it does not work out well, then I know that this is something that I should not be doing. And also this, if you are interested in doing this, then this will also show you that maybe planting sweet potatoes in a pot with other vigorous plants is not a good idea. But you can plant sweet potatoes in a pot without anything else, and I suspect that they would do really well. But if I am going to plant sweet potatoes in a pot, they are going to be by themselves because there was a lot of root competition, and also they would need a lot more fertilizer. With these salvias in here, I didn't really have to fertilize them that much, and I knew I should fertilize the sweet potatoes, but again, it was super compact in there with all the roots. So I suspect that they would need a lot more room to grow their tubers, and the compaction of the soil is going to stop the tubers from growing. And again, sweet potatoes are heavy feeders, so you do have to fertilize them multiple times during the growing season. And I was using for a short period of time some water-soluble fertilizer, but I didn't keep up on it. So that was another reason why they didn't grow big tubers. So now let's go ahead and cut back these salvias and get them planted. So I was thinking that they would look really nice planted right here, sort of behind the rows, and you'll have some purple blooms and the peachy color from the rose. You can kind of see that faded bloom over here. I can't get any closer right now, but we'll have a much better version of that color along with the purple blooms of the salvia in here if they do return. And I think that they would look very beautiful in this section over here, especially that they are tall flowers, and they're about 4 feet tall, I would say, and that would provide some height in the back over there, and some of the purple color that I'm missing over here because I have the chives on this section over here that bloom purple in the spring, and then you shear them back and they bloom again.
I'm not watering my salvias after planting because we were expecting rain the day after planting them. If you live in a dry location, then you might want to consider watering your plants after planting them. Watering will help minimize transplant shock. It will also help the roots settle down into the ground, and it will remove any air pockets that might be around the root that might cause the roots to dry out. And by removing all the air pockets from around the roots, you are ensuring that the roots are going to stay moist, and you are also ensuring that the roots will not freeze. Mulch is a great insulator. It will provide a great layer of protection for these salvias to help them survive our cold winter. The spot that I chose to plant them in receives all the snow from our deck. Snow is a wonderful insulator. In the event that we won't receive a lot of snow and our temperatures dip down really low below freezing, then I will have to provide these plants with some sort of covering to protect them for the winter, considering that these are hardy to zone 6 and we are in zone 5. An example of that would be a frost cover or maybe a plastic container that I could tip upside down and place it over these plants. But I want to make sure that there's going to be a good enough layer of mulch over these plants. Now I did bury these pretty deep, about 6 inches or maybe deeper, and if I feel that I need to add more mulch to these plants to protect them so that they will come back for us next season, I will be doing that. I will not have to water my plants after planting unless we are going through a period of drought. Blue salvias are drought tolerant, but that does not mean that they don't need water. So if you live in a dry environment, you might need to provide your plants with some supplemental watering. This area that I chose to plant the salvia in is also south facing, which means it will receive the most amount of sun in the winter. This in terms will provide extra warmth for the soil and for the surrounding region. If you're trying to overwinter a plant that is not exactly hardy to your area, choosing a location that is up against your house or maybe a shed or any sort of building is going to provide that plant with an extra layer of protection because of the extra warmth that is going to radiate from that building onto the soil and that surrounding region and your plant. This is known as microclimate. A microclimate is basically a small climate that exists within a large scale climate. So a southern facing location that is up against your house may provide you with that microclimate. In summary, choose a rich, well-draining soil and a warm, sunny location to overwinter your salvias. Provide your plants with an extra thick layer of mulch, and if you receive lots of snow, that is wonderful, but if you do not, you can take a pot, tip it upside down, and put it over your salvias. I will be cutting these salvias a little bit back, and I will cover them with a little bit more mulch and put this pot over them in the event that we do not receive lots of snow. If you want to learn more on how to start salvias from seeds, click on this video right here, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so that you can be notified whenever I upload new videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.